In Singapore, cars and other vehicles drive on the left side of the road, as in neighbouring Malaysia, due to its British colonial history. As a result, most vehicles are right-hand drive. However, exemptions have been made to allow foreign vehicles and construction machineries to utilise the road space of Singapore. As such, vehicles with left-hand drive configurations are required to either be driven with a sign indicating left-hand drive or towed. The per capita car ownership rate in Singapore is 12 cars per 100 people. This compares with the per capita rate of 1 car per 2.09 people in Brunei. The earliest roads in Singapore, after its founding in 1819, were laid out in the Jackson Plan of 1822, in keeping with Sir Stamford Raffles' directions. A grid system was adopted for the town, with roads for carriages being 16 yards wide, and those for horses 4 yards wide. Pedestrian paths along the roadsides were 2 yards wide, allowing room for 2 people to walk abreast, and giving rise to the 5 footways that came to be associated with the sheltered walkways along roadside shops. These roads were fairly advanced for the time, with macadam surfacing used on High Street as early as 1821. Roads were also constructed across the rest of the island, although they were usually unsurfaced. Most of the roads were accessible to the Kampong roads by 1845, and finally to the HDB developed roads since the 1960s. Currently, there are a lot of roads and expressways in Singapore. As with many other urban areas of the time, all the earliest modes of transport were replaced by today's transport. A Class 3 or Class 3A license permits the holder to drive motorcars weighing less than 3,000 kilograms when unladen, and to carry no more than 7 passengers. In addition, the holder may drive a motor tractor or other motor vehicles with an unladen weight of less than 2,500 kilograms. A Class 3A license limits the holder to drive motor vehicles without a clutch pedal, typically automatic transmission cars, whereas a Class 3 license allows the holder to drive all motor vehicles. Class 3A drivers are not allowed to drive manual transmission cars. Drivers must be 18 years old to qualify for a license, including applying for theory lessons. Once a driver passes the basic theory test, a provisional driving license, which lasts for 6 months, must be applied for before taking the practical driving lesson. However, a student can choose to apply and pass the final theory test before applying for a PDL and starting driving lessons. The last stage of obtaining a driving license is the practical driving test, for which a student must have a FTT pass results slip and a PDL. The driving theory tests consists of 50 questions to be answered within 15 minutes. To pass, you must answer 45 out of the 50 questions correctly. Results are shown immediately after the test on the same touchscreen monitor. The Singapore Traffic Police require foreigners residing in Singapore to have a valid foreign driver's license and to be at least 18 years old. Conversion to a Singaporean license is often possible for certain classes of vehicles. Foreigners who have obtained a Singapore license are supplied with a limited duration license, which needs to be renewed between 1 month before expiry to 3 years after expiry. After this period, the conversion procedure or licensing theory and practical tests must be taken all over again. No renewal of a driving license is required for Singapore citizens and permanent residents since the introduction of the photo card license. The driving license is for the normal lifespan of the person and can be surrendered upon request to the traffic police. If the person passes away, the license will have to be surrendered to the traffic police. A person who commits 12 demerit points and is above 80 years old is subject to early termination of the driving license indefinitely, after which it will also not accept new drivers above 79 years old.